Hello everybody, June 11th, 2022. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. First I want to look at what I said on Monday. At the time I had said, the title from last Friday, Stuck in Bearish Chop until 29.3 breaks, was really appropriate. We had lots of choppy action, had a pump up to 31.8, and then the new daily candle opened with a $2,000 drop. So, lots of chop, right? And what is going to happen next? I said that depends on if we're going to get a sustained break of 29.3 or not. It hadn't broken at the time. We could get a move back up to 31. I said it right there. Or it could bring Bitcoin even up to 34 if it wanted to. But there's so many possibilities of what's going to happen, a corrective structure, that I really cannot spend time typing out every single possible thing that could happen. The main point though is that this is corrective chop and we should see a new low. So the main focus was, all right, what's going to happen when we see a sustained break of 29.3? And there's two possibilities. It could form an impulse down and make things easy, or it could make a diagonal down and make things more difficult. But in either case, we should see a move to like 26.7 or below in order to finally bottom. At that point, the micro impulse was too immature to see what exactly was going to happen. But maybe 25, 26 could be the actual bottom. But the larger picture is saying 22 to 24. So we really need to see how the micro action develops and go from there. All right, so since then, let me just show you exactly where we were when I was making that video on Monday. We were right here. Okay, we had that $2,000 drop after we'd gone up to 31.8. We had a $2,000 drop, and right here during that video I said, yep, once we see 29.3 break in a sustained fashion, we should see acceleration downwards. But in the meantime, we could see chop back up to 31 or even 34. If you look, that's exactly what we did. We went to 31. Once again, 31.5 to be exact. But since then, all we've done is die once again. All right. Now, do we have a sustained breakdown of 29.3 here? And is this telling us we're going to get an impulsive move? Unfortunately, it doesn't really look like that. It does not look like a normal impulsive move. It's still possible, but I am skeptical because of the fact that we really have not broken down significantly from here. Now, it could just be coming up to retest, and we may still get a nice big dump here in the near future. That's a possibility. But continued chop is really going to lean me in the direction of a diagonal downwards instead of an impulse. And that's fine. It's just harder to track. If this was going to be an impulsive move, I would expect that we would see from the end of this 2 here down to this 3 a pretty strong move. And I mean, arguably this has been a couple strong-ish moves, right? But we really haven't seen the acceleration that we should have seen on that 29.3 break if it was going to stay impulsive. So that, like I said, makes me lean towards kind of an ending diagonal scenario. So in that scenario then, the real question is, where the heck are we? And I don't know for sure. Is this still 1? Is that still 2? Diagonals get a little tricky because you really can't tell until 3 is done. So we need to wait still for this to complete. But once it does, I'll probably be looking for something like this. So instead of a normal impulsive structure, which would take us down here, little bounce, and then push us down further, we're possibly going to get more of a choppiness that looks like, this basically, something like that. And it could lead us to a lower low than even that impulse would have suggested, right? But basically it makes the targeting a lot more difficult if it is going to do a diagonal. So let's just keep that in the back of our minds, that it is a possibility. That'll just be like choppiness, but downwards choppiness, okay? I'll still give it the benefit of the doubt for now that this could be an impulse, because this initial move off of this high looked like a fairly decent impulsive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. That's what I have labeled there. And that's why I have that labeled as wave 1, because we have 5 waves down. Now what happened in wave 2 is kind of odd, and it came up a little higher than we really should have gone, but it's still within the realm of possibility for this to be A, B, C in an expanded flat sort of deal as a second wave. But we really have not started off wave 3 particularly impulsive. The best case scenario is that's a 1 and a 2 here, and we're in the midst of 3 of 3 right now. So let's just play that out just out of curiosity, where that would project to. I can't promise this is going to be actually accurate here, because like I said, it doesn't truly look impulsive to me. But if it was going to do an impulse, it would be 1, 2, 3. That could be 3 of 3 there, and then 5 of 3. 3 should end. So if we see a continued move down to like 28.2, that's a maybe. And we'll get a little bounce, and then we'll get a final move down to like 27.6. That is a bit higher than this 3 should go. So again, doesn't really make sense as an impulse. This would be the micro of that. Right, we're looking for 5 waves down within this 3. But based on this fib, that being 2, this is, I mean, I guess it's possible. This is the box here that a 3 should normally go to based on this one and this 2. So maybe, we'll see. If this can give us a move down quickly here without really breaking too much higher than where it is right now, and then come back up and retest that again, and then give us another lower low somewhere in this area, then it's a possibility that this could still stay as an impulse down, which would make tracking it a little bit easier, potentially. That would likely push this 4 up a little higher though, and this 5 up higher as well. Might end just around 26.5 in that scenario. So I'll keep that on there for now. Can't promise anything. Like I said, I'm not really convinced by all this choppy action that we've seen. It is very possible we're doing a diagonal scenario, but in any case, we really should see a low below this 3 right here, okay? We should see one more low below 26.7 in order to end this. So that could really just truncate right there around 26.5. It could go down to maybe 25, you know, something like that. It's really just the higher time frame chart that's saying this is the area to be concerned with right here. I'm just not seeing the micro line up with that at this point in time. So that makes me question whether or not that's actually going to happen. Now, if we see along the way here, we see like a really severe dump that's all part of this third, and then we get a 4 and a 5, you know, like that, that's certainly possible we get an extension, but it's not super convincing right now. All right, so leaning in favor of you know, potentially being able to push down a little further here. We are coming up out of the oversold territory on both the PPO and the RSI. So if the bulls don't capitalize on that and really push this significantly higher here, you know, I think it's likely that we do make it down to this green box. But it very well might be a, like I said, a diagonal like this. So I'll leave the diagonal on there too. And then once we get a bottom sort of in place here, then I'll move this around wherever it needs to go to make sense of that, and then we can track that as well as the impulse, and just see which one actually plays out. Doesn't really matter, shouldn't really matter to the long term. All right, is there a bullish possibility here? It's not good, but yeah, there is. We've got a WXY up. That could be a first wave in a bullish diagonal. We have right now maybe, you know, an A, a B, and if we do get the next lower low somewhere, we could see a C support zone here for a 2. And then if this broke above the diagonal, wherever that diagonal line ends up being, if it broke above it, then it would potentially mean that this is going to go up then as a bullish diagonal, or it could mean that all of that is a much larger W, X, and Y right up into this red danger zone, up into that 34K range before going down further. So there are tons of possibilities when we have so much choppy action. I really cannot be completely sure about what is going on until we get a clear signal that the bottom is in, right? So the best case scenario, let's just make it as simple as possible. Best case scenario is that this continues breaking down. We see a 3, 4, 5 micro within the 3, we see a 4, and we see a 5 of 5. It truncates here around 25K, and then we get a clear 5-wave impulsive move off of a low. That would be the best case scenario. We can then buy the pullback with confidence that the bottom is probably in. All right, that's best case. Okay, whenever that happens. Worst case scenario, this continues chopping, it gets to here and then makes a new high after that. Honestly, I don't see it likely playing out that the bottom is in. It'll still probably crash down to here at that point, right? So that's a possibility. If we just get more chop, if we don't break to a new low right now, it's gonna happen later, more likely than not. So that's why I keep really wanting to see a lower low. The sooner we can get a lower low, the more likely it is that we are going to then see a true reversal, a true sign of reversal, which we've not seen in 6 months or more. Actually, yeah, more than that. We've been in a downtrend since November, right? So it's 7 months now. So basically, no matter what this does now, I expect a lower low. The only thing that it could possibly do would be a bullish diagonal upwards, which would involve giving us a higher high here for 3, then holding a low and giving one more higher high up for 5 waves in a diagonal. That is the only way I would consider a diagonal as a bullish sign. And even that can very easily break down just because it's so choppy within there. It's very easy to miscount and think it's 5 waves when in fact it's just 3 in a larger sense. So again, once again, lower low, best case scenario, we get a lower low and do an actual impulse. That'll be the easiest to trade, the easiest to track. I don't know if we're gonna get that or not, but it's the only thing that I'm gonna be willing to put my money in on, unless we get that 5-wave diagonal, and then maybe I'll decide to play that, but I wouldn't be happy about it. All right, let me just real quick, I've got a video going over the larger picture on Bitcoin anyway, but let me just real quick show you what I'm looking at here on this correction, right? So I think from 65K high here, that was the end of our major third wave. We should be getting a corrective pattern like this into 4th wave support, this larger 4th wave right here. This failed to be 4th wave support. We did an ABC up, so we're coming back down to test it, right? We're doing a Y wave down. This is an A, this is a B. That much is pretty clear at this point. And so therefore, we should be doing a C wave down within Y, and that C wave should have 5 waves in it. And we can count 1, 2, nice strong 3, 4 goes up right where we want to see it, right to that 618 area. That's perfect. And then 5 would go down. This is why the macro chart is saying this is the area here, because right there between the 1236 and the 1382 of the 2nd to 3rd wave, that's the fib we've drawn there. That's the area the 5th wave typically targets. That's why I've been looking at that on the macro chart. I just don't see the micro lining up with it yet, and that's why I'm saying, there is a possibility we truncate somewhere before that and then go up. In any case, though, I do expect that we are not done with this bull market. And in fact, looking a little bit further back, we can honestly say that as long as we're above about 16K, we're still probably going to get a new high. Because right now I'm looking at this as a 1 and a 2, and that's a 3. And in that case, our line in the sand would be about 25K. That's why I kind of want to stay above that. But if I'm incorrect about that, and our 2 is more like back here, that brings us down to like 23K as, the line in the sand. But there's a possibility that in the larger sense, even larger sense, these red numbers that I have here, right? I have, right now, I'm assuming we're in the midst of this circle 3 here. However, it's possible that we ended the circle 3 back here with the move off of the December 18 low being 1 and then 2 into the COVID crash here, and then 3 ending here, right? So I just don't know if circle 3 has ended already or if circle 3 ends up here. And until proven otherwise, I'm going to say circle 3 is ending up here. However, like I said, it's possible. So in any case, if circle 3 is there, the red 3, and we draw fib back from 3 to 2, that gives me 15.8 as the 0.5 fib. That would be the invalidation of the impulse then, right? Until that breaks, we can still be doing this. And that would end our 5th wave up here. Somewhere potentially in the 127 to 192 range, right? So basically in either of those scenarios, here's the big picture. In either of those scenarios, I'm expecting 100K plus, okay? This scenario is more bullish in the long run because we get a 3, 4, and then one more high and a 5, closer to $1 million potentially. But if the red scenario is correct, if we break below, 24-ish, 25, 24K, actually let's give it room to about 22K because I could be wrong back here. So if we break below 22K, it has room down to about 15.8. As long as it's above 15.8, this red count can still be correct, right? So I know that's a lot of information to throw at you, but basically take home of all of this is that I do expect higher highs over 100K at some point. And this correction can certainly drag on for as long as it wants to, but at some point we should see a lower low, and then we should see an actual impulsive move up in order to signify that the bottom is actually in and give us a very nice entry for that 100K plus target. So hopefully that made sense to everybody. If it did not, just join the group, Trade Like a Whale. We've got a Discord group. You can chat with me directly about any of this stuff. I'm happy to go over it. I can do one-on-one mentorship with our members. I do video chats, whatever is needed to kind of get you up to speed on what's going on here. But that's what I'm looking at. All right, looking for lower low and then reversal, and that's pretty much we should be coming to the end of this correction then. All right, everybody, take a look at the video here. I go over in a little bit more depth that 100K target, and make sure you hit subscribe on the channel so you get the updates when I post a new video. And I will talk to you all on Monday. We'll see what the weekend brings.